Welcome to the Gooder Podcast, where we talk with powerhouse women in CPG about their journeys to success. This episode is sponsored by Retail Voodoo, a brand development firm guiding mission-driven consumer brands to attract new and passionate consumer base, crush their categories through growth and innovation, and magnify their social and environmental impact. If your brand is in need of brand positioning, package design, or marketing activation, we are here to help. You can find more information at www.retail-voodoo.com.
Hi, Diana Frike here. I am the host of the Gooder Podcast, where I get to talk with the powerhouse women in the food, beverage, and wellness categories about their journeys to success and their insights on the industry. This episode is brought to you by Retail Voodoo. Retail Voodoo is a brand development firm. Our clients include Starbucks, Kind, REI, PepsiCo, Nike, and many other market leaders. We provide strategic brand and design services for food, wellness, beverage, and fitness industries. If your goal is to increase market share, drive growth, or disrupt the marketplace with new and innovative ideas, give us a call and let's talk. Or you can check us out on retail-voodoo.com. Well, today we get to meet Suz Hernandez, founder and CEO of MamaP, an online platform and CPG brand that sells affordable and eco-friendly health, beauty, and home goods. Leveraging her experience as a Nike executive, Suz started this business focused on sustainability. She provides advice to other business owners about leadership, people management, and culture, as well as doing something impactful that is meaningful. Suz uses her passion of 15 years of product, retail, and brand experience with Nike, P&G, and BCBG Maxaria. I always say that wrong. Apologies to the brand. To drive a vision of blending consumer products with purpose, sustainability, and design. MamaP is a triple bottom line company, which means the focus is on people, planet, and then profits. Now, before we start our conversation, I would like to just give a big thank you to Carol Smith, Director of Brand Management at Go-Go Squeeze, for making this introduction. Those of you not familiar with Go-Go Squeeze, it is the original applesauce in a pouch that has expanded their pouch offerings into a number of family-friendly and healthy squeezable snap offerings. Yeah, we're fans, you can tell. So head on over to gogosqueeze.com to learn more about what Carol and her team are up to now. And now we get to welcome Suz. Suz, how are you today?
Yeah, hey, I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me here today.
Of course. Where are you located?
I am based in Jersey City. It's right outside of Manhattan, just right across the Hudson.
Just You wave every morning. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, hey, when Carol told me about what you were up to, I was really excited. I hadn't heard about MamaP yet. So for all of us that are listening, and this is probably my favorite part of the interview, tell us a little bit about MamaP and why it exists.
Yeah, so MamaP, we are in the business of adding purpose to people's everyday lives. And we do that by helping remove plastic from everyday personal care and home essential products. And we help people live healthy and balanced lives, care for the environment, and give back to communities. And we give back to the communities by donating 5% of our sales to different nonprofits. Based on different causes, we have 6 different causes. And they range from ocean conservation. Our Blue Collection gives back to ocean conservation, all the way down to LGBTQ plus equality, which is Rainbow. And you know, like the inception of that is, I really believe that brands can do good in the world, and that we can also help people do good. And that's why our motto is to do good, live better every day.
I love it. So tell us a little bit about, where did this idea come from?
Yeah, so I mean, it's been a bit of a journey. So, you know, I was living in Portland, Oregon. I was working at Nike at the time. And, you know, it's a really wonderful environment to be connected to nature. I mean, you're based in Washington, so
yeah.
You know that firsthand. And, you know, I'd grown up in Los Angeles, so I've always had this connection to the ocean, to the earth, and to Mother Earth. But really in Portland, Oregon, and even at Nike, they would have like 6 different types of recycling on a floor, compost. They did not put trash cans at desks. and there would be one tiny trash can for the entire floor. And so living in Portland, Oregon, and being around that type of environment, I'm like, this makes sense. Like, and I got used to it. So fast forward to, a few years working in Nike in Portland, I moved to New York City, based in Hell's Kitchen, so in the thick of it, like in the thick of Midtown. And, I was evolving myself, and I was finding purpose in my life, and I was reconnecting to my roots of nature and respecting the environment. And I was having a really hard time being environmentally friendly or really being focused on that while living in New York City. And I thought to myself, if I'm having this challenge of finding products that don't have plastic, that are gentle on the environment, who else is having problems? I would turn to Amazon.
Right.
And not to knock Amazon. This was, 5 years ago. So a long time ago. But I was finding sustainable products, and they were kind of like low quality. They were in plastic packaging, and then we shipped to me in plastic packaging. And I'm like, why is this happening? I'm trying to do good, and I want to do good, and I want to make that change, but why is it so hard? And that was really the pivotal point for me. And I'm like, if I'm having this problem in New York City, one of the largest cities in the world, how are people in Montana or Arkansas? How are they living, and how are they able to also reach their goals and also find purpose in their life? And that was really the inception. And I thought, well, let me start with one product, an easy product, a toothbrush, right? How many plastic toothbrushes do you use?
Right here. Those of you that are watching if you're not watching on YouTube, I've got a sample of the toothbrushes right here.
Yeah. And so I thought, I'm like, let me start there. You're supposed to replace your toothbrush every 2, 3, or 4 months. So just a little like plug there. Please replace your toothbrush every 3 to 4 months. But I thought, like that really adds up to a lot in a year and in some lifetime. So why don't I start with there? The bamboo toothbrushes on the market at the time were really basic. They didn't feel good. They kind of hurt your mouth because they were really like, if you've ever seen the flat bamboo toothbrushes with the really long heads, and it's hard to use like a sharp piece of wood in your mouth. And so our toothbrushes, I thought, I'm like, let me think of a better way to make an easier transition for people. And so our toothbrushes are like round, they have soft edges, the head is a little smaller. And it really helps to make that transition from a plastic toothbrush to a natural toothbrush that's 95% compostable. That last 5% we can't get away with yet, and those are the bristles.
The bristles.
Because we still have to honor our own health as well.
Right.
And so that's where we started. Now, when I was thinking of the name for the company, I reflected back to at the time, it was 10 years ago. I was on a consulting trip in Peru, and I went to Machu Picchu. I was actually,
my gosh.
And I was consulting for a bamboo exporter as well. So go figure, full circle.
Yes.
And so I'm on this trip, and it's with my MBA class, and we're on a bus. We have a tour guide, and the tour guide, before he left us, he goes, before I leave you today, I want to leave you all with one thing. Here in Peru, we believe that if we take care of Pachamama, who is Mother Earth, in turn, she'll take care of us. And that really stuck with me throughout all these years. And so I thought, what better name would be, to honor Mother Earth? Or what will be a good name for our company? And I thought, well, I don't want to appropriate Pachamama because that's actually sacred. And people around the world, it's part of who they are. And the Incans also, it was part of their religion. And so I thought, if Pachamama, if she were reincarnated to today, she'd be like, you know what? Just call me MamaP.
Call me MamaP.
Yeah. And so I really stuck with that name for our company so that we can always focus on Mother Earth as well, and know that if we take care of her, in turn, she'll take care of us.
Now, you sent me these really amazing toothbrushes, right? I've got a package here that will be used at home. These are compostable. How do you recommend people dispose of these when they're done with them then?
Yeah, so there are a few different ways you can probably find online. I always recommend to just break the head off, and you can just kind of just snap it off with your thumb. I recommend that way so that we don't have tiny plastics ending up in our landfills or in streams. Some people recommend to pull out each of the bristles individually with tweezers, and then you can compost the head. But I don't know, tiny plastics. I'm like, let's not create more tiny plastics in our environment.
Yeah, we haven't quite figured that out yet. Yeah, it will get there because there's a lot of really amazing people that are working on it, but it is there. And then before we go on a couple of other questions, just going to show you a couple of other things, or those people that are here, a couple of other things that Suz sent me. One, here is a conditioner bar and a shampoo bar, which you guys have seen this concept around. So that's kind of cool. And I like that this packaging, you're using, looks like wax paper on the inside, and you're using unbleached paper for your package board. It's very cool. And then my favorite, anybody that's been, excuse me, you guys can hear that I'm still struggling with my cold from a few weeks ago. A lot of brands are trying to come up with a really solid solution for this. This was my favorite thing that came out of Suz. I know the toothbrushes are the OG of the product line, but for me, this is the thing I'm most excited to try. So thank you for sending me this. These are laundry detergent sheets, and love. And they're HE. So how did you get to the laundry sheets? These are kind of disconnected, but I'm sure that there's a rationale between the toothbrush and the shampoo and conditioner, and then now we've got this laundry detergent. Can you talk to those a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So we launched new products last June. So we're rounding out 1 year of introducing and testing new products on the marketplace. But what we heard from customers is that they love our toothbrushes. Some people had electric toothbrushes, and they were asking, can you like give us something else to buy? We want to be part of your community. We want to buy your products because of the causes and the colors. It really means something to people. And so that got us thinking, okay, what other products could be complementary? We have vegan compostable dental floss now and refillable containers, but we also looked beyond into other categories. I am a nerd at heart, and I'm proud of that. I research and test, and I go down that rabbit hole, and I research so much and learn about so many things. For the first few years in college, I was a biology psychology major, and so for me, it's kind of that like methodological like framework of researching, learning, testing, and just understanding like chemical compounds, organic materials, and also with my passion in the environment, how does this affect the environment?
I see.
And I can tell you, I'm never satisfied. Whenever I tried some products on the market, I'm like, I can be better. I can be done better. And there's always that thought in my head. And so as we looked at other categories, I was personally becoming, and I have been using other products, other brands' products, and I'm like, they're good, but I would like it to be even better, better quality, or look really nice because, we spend so much time in our homes. Like I believe our products should like bring happiness and bring joy to us as well. So we started with personal care. So like cognac sponges, if you haven't heard of these cognac sponges, they're made from the cognac root in Asia, and they feel spongy. When they dry, it becomes hard, but they're wonderful to use on your skin as a daily exfoliator, and you use it with your cleanser. And so I started down the road of the personal care section, and then I discovered shampoo and conditioner bars. There are a lot on the market right now, but in my opinion, I felt that, and again, thinking of like the transition from traditional products that we might get in plastic into eco-friendly or sustainable innovation, I felt like there was too much of a change. And in my opinion, a lot of the shampoo and conditioner bars now on the market, they still use a lot of the chemicals that you'll find in the bottles, and they strip your hair. Strip your hair completely, the shampoo, and then the conditioner tries to add back moisture or add back something.
Or some protectant or something.
Yeah. And then, I was testing some different, some different materials from factories, and like the fragrance was fake. And I'm like, this is not good for my body.
Right.
And then,
Right.
how could we stand behind that?
Mm-hmm.
And so I found this amazing maker in Portugal, and we partner with her. And so we researched around the world how different cultures cared for their hair. From India, Ayurvedic medicine. Those are the bars that you have, and they use this powder called shiitake powder, and it comes from tree bark, and it has this amazing quality to help regenerate hair growth and stimulate hair growth, help with any dandruff issues.
Really?
And so we actually use nature and look to nature to embed materials back into our products, because like let's look back to our ancestors and generations before us of how people have lived and how they've cared for their bodies, and let's kind of go back to look forward. And so like that's one example. Or in our oil detox bar in Morocco, they use Rasoul clay, and Rasoul clay is really great for pulling out excess oil, but it won't strip your hair.
Interesting.
And it's a material. So it binds to the oils, and then it will wash away, but it doesn't strip your hair. And then the conditioner bars actually end up like a mask. And so we just have a different philosophy at how we look at challenges in the market, and then how we find solutions. And I partner with different makers around the world. Or here in New York, we're launching solid facial cleanser soon.
Wow.
And for that, we're looking to Korea, how people in Korea have use traditional Chinese medicinal herbs for their skin. So we just have a different philosophy at how we approach products and how we bring that to market. Yeah. So that's how we kind of ended up with shampoo and conditioner bars. And then laundry detergent sheets. I mean, a really same story in the East and East Asia. They've been using these for like decades, and it's nothing really new. The only difference is we've changed the formula to ensure that it's okay for the environment and for the ocean. So going down to the actual chemical compound and makeup of the formula, and then also checking it against the US EPA, which is, it's not as strict, but also looking at Canada's equivalent of the EPA and then Europe's equivalent of the EPA, and just making sure that we're checking all those boxes. So I can talk about product and innovation all day, but I don't want to. Again, I'm a nerd. I'm a nerd at heart, and I'm proud of it.
Oh my gosh, I'm just laughing. It's okay. The last person that I interviewed, Tara from Bulletproof 360, if you're familiar with them, she also, while she is a marketer, she comes up from the bio place, and then Jenna Arkin, who is a chief innovation officer over at Ecos, working on a lot of the same things that you were working on, also comes from the bio background, but she leads marketing. It's very interesting. I'm finding, I don't know if it's just the path that I'm going on, and that I'm happening to meet all of these people who are marketers and entrepreneurs that have kind of a STEM background, or if this is just indicative of this category and the women that happen to be leading change in this space. So very, very interesting.
Yeah, I think I honestly think it's a lot of women who are in this space, and then there are men and non-binary and all the other genders as well. But I've experienced a lot of women who want to care for the environment. I found that a lot of men typically go more towards the tech route. Yeah. So it's just an interesting trend, and I'm sure it will change. And when Gen Z comes in, and
yeah, well, for sure. I think we've got the swing and difference of mentality between millennials and Gen Z are such a stark contrast on how business can be and what needs to happen. And I think it's going to be a really powerful combination. Those of us that are Gen Xers over here, raising my hand, we're very much aligned with the Gen Zers, probably because our kids are on the younger millennials and Gen Zers. So we probably have more of the mentality is very similar, but it's really super fun to watch the change happen.
I saw this funny TikTok video. So I am all about TikTok, and it was about how like millennials and Gen Z, like there's been a really big spotlight on those generations, and Gen X has kind of been a little silent. But the maker of this video, the artist of this video, said, actually, it's the Gen Xers who are raising the Gen Z activists.
That's right.
It's actually
That's right, X, sister. Yes.
It's so true. I love it. It's amazing.
Yes, we are the quiet generation. We're the first latchkey generation. We are, our generation was the first generation that saw women as excuse me, I'm dropping things on the floor here. Women in general go back to the workforce. Like is Gen X when all the moms started going back to work, or not started going back to work, but actually really going to work and having professional careers and not limiting ourselves. There's a lot of change that happened in the 70s and 80s, including, this seems so weird because it seems like should be ancient history, but when I was born, my mother could not get a credit card or a home loan without my dad's permission.
Yeah.
You could not get this is in my lifetime that happened. So a lot happened when I was a kid, and we saw a wholesale change in the way culture happened. And so it was our moms going to work that were saying, we're going to change things, that kind of went, okay, we need to raise a generation that continues that methodology. But we're such a small cohort comparatively that we don't carry the physical muscle, but this will be some more geeking out. If you go and look at spending habits, Gen X spends more per person than any other cohort individual, including baby boomers. We spend more per person for anything, more per unit, and just simply we're the biggest consumer group. It's very interesting to be so small and command that much per unit and have people going, but there's 5 million people. And I'm like, no, you want us, because we'll be loyal. Yeah. We'll be loyal and we'll spend a lot of money with you. And you don't have to work that hard. Just make sure that we're happy. We're not too fickle. Yeah. Anyways, I digress. That's that's what we do all the time. It's like, how do we talk to these different generations in ways that make sure that they get it? So when we're working with you, it's working with brands like yours, we're giving them the information that they need. But I digress. Now, I want to go back to all this work that you've been doing. How did you know you were headed in the right direction? Was there a moment? Was there a conversation? Was there a sales threshold that happened and you were like, oh my gosh, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing?
Yeah. So it's funny, when I first started out and I started telling people that, hey, I'm gonna make bamboo toothbrushes because you know what? Like, no one's doing it that great, and I know we can do better. And again, with the cause feedback, I'm like, I want something to have more purpose than just to buy a transaction. So I had so many people tell me, don't do it. Don't do it. Of course.
Because it's scary and it's unknown.
Oh, and look, no one cares about a toothbrush. No one cares about toothbrushes. Like, just don't do it. And I go, thank you for your opinion. Appreciate it. So it's really funny. But then as I started telling people the story, actually story first, and not even the product, people started saying, hey, like, what are you making? And I'm like, oh, it's going to be a bamboo toothbrush. So they're like, oh, okay, cool. Hey, when you do that, can you let me know? I'll buy some. And I go, oh, okay. It wasn't cool. I hadn't really thought through like the sales part of it. I just thought product. But what really stuck with me, my first year, and this is before I had wholesale accounts. This is like 2018 when I was starting. I'm like, I don't really know where I'm going to sell this or like how this will go.
Right.
And I would go to a market in New York City called the Grand Bazaar. It's kind of like a flea market / like food market. Really cool. It was like outdoors. And I would go there every Sunday. And I became known as a bamboo toothbrush lady. People, I kid you not, they're like, bamboo toothbrush lady, like go check her out. And people from all around the world would come to this market every Sunday because it's a big tourist attraction all over the country, all over the city. And the more I talked to people, the more that I learned that people really cared and people were really interested in this. And I discovered that, and this may not be as profound, but at the time it was very profound to me, because this was also a very different time with a very different president at the time. It was very conflicting. But I discovered people inherently want to do good.
Yeah.
But they're just not sure how.
Yeah.
And when I talk to people from all around the world, country, city, and I talk to them about the concept of the company and then the product, people were like, I want to buy some. Like, I need to buy 20 of them to ship to friends and family. And I want to take them back to France with me and back to South Korea. And, people started buying a lot at a time because they just wanted to give people a piece of what this did for them as a person, but also inspire other people to do good. And I would have people come back who were based in New York, and sometimes it'd be like a month later, and they'd come back to the market and find me, and they would go, I just wanted to tell you that it means so much to me. Every morning I brush my teeth and I think about the ocean, because that's the cause that I chose. And it's changed how I approach my day. And I think of, what can I do today to support the ocean? Or I would hear the same about mental health. I would have people, they started coming back to tell me their stories of what this meant to them. And that's when I knew, okay, I'm onto something. Now what?
Yeah, that's really cool. And I'm curious, you have this drive to do more, like to save the planet. I'm just going to use really high level language here. Is there something is it just that you love the planet so much that has you want to be more of this socialpreneur, or is where does the socialpreneurness come from, I guess, is the question.
Yeah, I mean, I think just inherently, I believe I'm with people, that people inherently want to do good. I always see the good in people, and I see that we need change, and I go more towards the glass is half full as a solution, and that inspiring people will actually set off like a chain reaction, that they'll inspire people and those people will inspire people. And that's just kind of how I am as a person.
Got it.
And I just think that, and I kind of go back to my values. I believe that companies can be a force of good, and that we can still be profitable. We can still run as a company. We just have to do things differently. And people who are part of the community, they'll come join us. People who are not, that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Now tell us a little bit about, this one's always the tricky one. I like asking it because I think there's some good learning here, but is there a moment where something went wrong and there was like a lost opportunity or maybe a poor choice, and that moment changed the way you lead now or changed the trajectory of your business?
I mean, I think so that there are a lot of, we're still growing. We're still a small brand, and we're growing and we're passing different phases. And so there will always be these learning moments. I think the hardest part has been the pandemic. So coming out of 2019, we were a holiday. We had placements in magazines, and we were great publicity. We were in a lot of specialty stores, and we were just really building up to it. And the pandemic just flatlined our business for 6 months. 6 months. And at that time, our customers, I've developed relationships with our early customers, and they were like, we can't pay you. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. If we go down, let's just go down together, I guess.
Oh, man.
So I think that was the hardest, because there was so much uncertainty at the time, and we had grown, and then everything just came down, and we essentially started from not zero because people knew about us, but just the momentum stopped. Now, what came from that, and this is part of the business side of me and the analytical side of me, looking at our business, we still had some accounts that kept ordering.
Oh,
right. I'm like, that's interesting, and they were food cooperatives.
Like PCC out here in the Seattle area.
And yeah, exactly. And so because they were essential businesses, they were still open.
Right. Yes.
And that's when the business side of me goes, okay, if we're going to survive this, however long it is, because this is June, July, like there's still so much uncertainty.
Yes.
Focus on essential businesses because
Mm-hmm.
this is guaranteed. We know they will stay open,
Right.
and we know customers, once we're on shelves, we know that they'll choose us. And
Yeah.
when we're side by side with competitors, we know that they'll more likely choose our brand than the competitor.
Mm-hmm.
And so we started pivoting, and I pivoted to just food co-ops using NCG, National Cooperative Grocers, and Infor accounts. And I just went after them. I set up like in a past life, I helped run sales teams. So I set up a performance marketing campaign and just found emails, and I would just pitch them time and time. And we started gaining momentum that way. And what that led us to was getting into Unify, one of the largest natural food distributors in the US.
Yes.
And we got in through their Up Next program, which are brands that they identify as disruptors in their category. And that's kind of how we went from, what are we going to do? We may not even get paid ever again, and that's fine. And we're just going to keep those relationships with people, to finding businesses that could sustain growing with us or us growing with them. And that's still our number one channel. And that's still one of the most important channels right now.
Yeah. Well, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you. This particular category, personal care and home care, is growing like bonkers, right? Mm-hmm. COVID set off a cleaning bonanza in the US like we'd not really seen before ever. And I was wondering, what of your Nike and P&G experience were you able to leverage during this last period of time? But it sounds like working with sales teams and just putting your sales hat on was the big one for you.
Yeah. And I think, also leveraging consumer insights. So I'm a trend forecaster at heart as well. That's where my early fashion days come from. And so just seeing things on the horizon, and getting a pulse on what are people thinking right now, and also what they not necessarily be thinking, but will probably be thinking in the next year. Looking at the marketplaces, like where would we have the best success? Maybe not better success, best success. Right, West Coast, like the coasts, really are strong right now for sustainability. So let's focus there. And so just having a methodology and process down to how will we grow our business with our limited resources, and how can we be the most efficient with our time? Because time is the most precious part of it. And, also just our company, we don't want people to work all day, work 24 hours. Because we also believe in having healthy and balanced consumers' lives. That also matters for us as a team. And so just making sure that we can balance and stay balanced and grounded as a team, also as we grow. So so it's kind of just taking different cross-functional teams that I've worked on in the past and just applying it to MamaP. Now, I'd say this year, starting in January, February, we started building out our analytics.
Okay, there you go.
Data. And historically, we hadn't really had that. And so now we're actually making different informed decisions, not only on gut, but also with data.
Sure. That's cool. That's great. Now, when you're thinking back to kind of this journey over the past several years, what's a milestone or a moment that you right now just are really proud of? I know there's probably a few, but I wonder if there's one that is the crown.
Yeah. I mean, there have been so many, but I think right now the biggest for us has been getting into distributors. And it's not, that's just more from a business standpoint, because as you probably know, or anyone who's in the industry knows, that's an opening point for your business to continue growing. We're also in KeHE now.
Great.
We're adding new distribution centers, every few months. we're adding new products into distribution. And so for me, like that's so exciting. And we have wonderful marketing things as well. We were on Good Morning America last year.
So cool.
And we're getting placement. But for me, just, from just a business standpoint, and also just thinking long term as our brand grows, that's what I'm really, really proud of. And that we keep growing, and that our accounts, they want more products from us.
That's cool. How many SKUs do you have right now, would you say? Or products, I should say.
Yeah. So products, I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to count all of them, but we do have we have products in oral care, products in personal care, and hair care. We will be launching some skincare, so solid facial cleansers.
Great.
And then home care. Right now we only have laundry detergent sheets, but that we are growing over the next 6 months.
Awesome.
And adding more products. Yeah.
I love it. And so tell me a little bit now. I know that you like to kind of interact with other entrepreneurs and leaders in the space. What do you find? What kind of advice do you find yourself giving people who are either wanting to follow behind you or maybe in adjacent categories? What are you sharing with them?
Yeah, so I speak with a lot of women entrepreneurs, and I found that the number one piece of advice I tend to give women really comes down to just do it, just go for it, and just go. And I've had a lot of mentors in my past, both men and women, and I've always, I think look at me 10 years ago, I probably would be the one who I'm like, oh, it's not perfect yet, I'm going to wait.
Right.
And what I learned from a lot of my male mentors have been like, no, just go for it. Just go for it. You're good.
Yep.
And so I find myself helping coach other women, either peer coaching or just like advice. And I'm like, sounds like you have a great idea. Just go for it and just learn, test and learn. And if you need to pivot and just keep going and just be confident because you got it, I think that's really the biggest thing. And even, there are some cases where I have spoken to other people and they've given me advice, and I've been like, oh, I don't think we're ready to pitch to that type of account yet. And my advice, it would come back and they're like, just go for it. Just do it. What do you have to lose? And I'm like, you know what? You are so right. Just go for it. Just go. Just try.
I love it. Yeah, I think I've heard that from a few other guests, women who've been running their businesses for a while. Junia Rocho for Brazzi Bites and then Miyoko both have said, women, we're so hard on ourselves that we want perfection before we're ready to kind of stick our neck out, for lack of a better description. And I think you are absolutely right. I think just try it. So if it doesn't work, guess what? Try it again. I read recently, I don't remember who's the founder of Dyson. I don't remember his name, but I literally read an article this week. And I think before he was able to get his first vacuum cleaner in the market, I think he had close to 1,300 failures before the product was viable for market.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. And so, and he was taking the product out there before it was commercially viable. Like if you look at what the path was, it was like, he got it to here and he tried it. That didn't work. He got it to here and tried it. Then that didn't work. And I would say then, to add to what you said, is just try it. And then after that, and keep going, even if it doesn't work. Like, because you have to go through the evolution to get to the final, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. And even when you think it's at the final, like probably in a year, you'll probably do a product update, like you won't stop. So you might as well just start, get early feedback, and then update.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Suz, I'm enjoying our conversation. Our time is almost up. I have a couple of questions I like to ask everybody. So I'm going to go ahead and start with them. The first one is, do you have like a happy hour fact, something about personal care or personal care product waste that either a fact or something that you're hearing from consumers right now that's really important to them?
I mean, I think for me, the fact that in the US alone, there are around 1 billion plastic toothbrushes sent to the landfill every year. And that's just one product,
Right.
right? I mean, and think of all the types of plastic that you might be using in your day to day. Some things you can't get around, but I think for me that's the hard hitting number. Just to start getting people to start thinking about, if I can make one change in my life, what could it be?
Yeah.
It could be a toothbrush. It could be, I don't know, your water bottle. It could be whatever that is. That's what I kind of go to when people start asking me, like, what's a fun fact? I'm like, well, it may not be fun, but it's a fact.
Take this one, yes. And that you can buy bamboo compostable. Are these recyclable and compostable? Do you recommend throwing them in the compost only because of how they're used?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would compost, just break the head off, and then you have to throw that away, and then compost. The handle's compostable, and so is the packaging.
Yeah, really easy solution for those of you that are just listening for fun, but those of you retailers that are out there that are looking for a really amazing solution, you check out MamaP's and add that to your product mix. I think that could be very interesting for your customers. So, I'm sorry, anything else?
Well, I was going to add, so our packaging, we also have the illustrations included on the front of the packaging. And the insight there is that, and this comes from the days at the market when I would speak to people, but sometimes just point and show people because English was not, they didn't speak it, or it was a second language. But we incorporate illustration and a lot of visuals on the packaging for the reason that if someone can't read English or may not understand that at least some connection and storytelling on the package. So when you see the open toothbrush that you had, we have whales and we have dolphins, or the bees one has bees, but it's a way for us to transcend borders of just written language, but also visual language.
Yeah, that's very cool. I like that each product has a different type of thing that is being donated to mental health and ocean conservation. And bees, it's really awesome.
Women's rights, criminal justice reform, LGBTQ plus equality.
I love that. Love it. Thank you. Okay. Any other women leaders or rising stars out there in our industry or not that you would like to elevate or just simply admire for the work they're doing right now?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm going to go back to a lot of the women that I deal with in our business. A lot of the entrepreneurs of the low waste shops, package free shops. There's so many women who are leading the charge there. Like Eniko in Florida with Sans Market, or Marla up in Maine with We Feel Good, or Katerina in San Diego. And I just think that there are so many amazing women that I can't list them all, but it's so amazing to see this community that we're all building together to make change in the world. And it's amazing. And, you may not hear their names every day if you don't live in their area, but I think there are a lot of women who are doing amazing things in this space, and who are also building community and educating the community as well.
Love that. Thank you for sharing the work that's being done across the country. That's pretty great. Lots of people. It takes a village. Village,
yes.
Yeah. Well, we have been talking with Suz Hernandez, founder and CEO of MamaP. Suz, where can people learn more about you and your company?
Yeah, you can go to mamap.life, MAMAP.LIFE, either on our website, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
Well, I want to thank you so much for your time today. So happy that we got to spend this time together. We had to reschedule because I got sick and anyway, so I'm glad that we were able to make it out, and I'm excited to see what you're doing and what the future looks like for you and the work that you're doing. I also want to thank our listeners. Thank you guys all for joining us today. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you next time on the Gooder Podcast.
Thank you. Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you haven't already, be sure to click subscribe and share with your network. Until next time, be well and do gooder.